So one problem we have going on is the only man door is on the opposite corner of the shop, and right in front of me is the house. So this is kind of where I want to come in. Now I have the barn doors over here, and several people have mentioned the idea of putting a man door in the barn doors, but I just don't care for the idea of how that's going to look. And also those are only 1.5 inches thick, so it'd have to be like a manufactured home door, and I want something beefier. So the office is right in here. We're gonna cut a hole in the wall, put in the man door, and the nice thing about that is in the office will be a Sally port for climate control. That way I'm not venting all the air in the shop every time I go in and out. So we'll get to that. So one of the moves to hopefully make this a little better, or maybe it doesn't even make a difference, is these panels are 36 inches wide. I've got a 3068 door, 36 inches, which is standard. So I'm placing it right where one panel is. I've got a rusted out bolt I need to work around. But otherwise what I need to do is go inside and mark the top opening so I don't have to remove this entire panel, because the top bolts are behind some wood up there. It's going to be real hard to get to. But my rough opening is going to be based off of the bottom plate that's on the inside. So I need to go on the inside, mark up to the top of my rough opening, drill a hole, and then I'll know where to cut here. So I found my hole. It's pretty easy because it was the only hole out here, fortunately. So now I can just mark where I need to cut, and it's okay if I end up not cutting totally perfectly straight with my angle grinder, because the J channel is going to clean up any unevenness, and I'm actually sizing this not off the rough opening that the door will go into, but for the metal it's going to be sized off of the brick mold is what I did, because the J channel is going to butt up against the brick mold. You'll see that when we get to it. And the dirt was piled up here, but diamond disc, rusty bolt, no problem. All right, now there still is some more cutting to do. I want to get the metal off first, just because that's going to make framing so much easier being able to access both sides. Now on a 36-inch door, the rough opening for the framing is going to be 38 inches. For the metal, it's going to be bigger, again, because of that J channel. So what I'm going to do is measure the edge of the brick mold and go about a 1/2 inch over that. That gives me a 1/4 inch on each side, and that'll be good. But yeah, now it's start to reinforce these purlins, add in the king studs and jack studs, a small header. Now a header isn't going to be critically important. Normally, depending on the frame, you'd use like a doubled up 2x8 with a 1/2 inch plywood spacer or something. But this wall is not load bearing in any way. This wall was just put in here to frame out the office and give something to put OSB onto. So my header is going to be weak. I know, don't hate me for it. So the plan is to remove the diagonal brace where I know it's not going to be in the way anymore. Then I can mark on the purlins where I need to add the bracing. Then I can start framing out those studs and remove the studs that are here. And actually I'll probably remove these first. It's probably going to reuse those. Save material. A hilarious thing, I just started noticing this has ditch door written on it. So right where the center line is, I guess they had a plan to put a door here and then ditched that idea. Really wish they hadn't. I really didn't plan this move very well. I don't even know where a speed square is. What's awesome about this is I have like a full-fledged wood shop and trailers, and I'm going to use a reciprocating saw to cut 2x4s straight, hopefully. Yeah, you can make this too if you have a $20,000 shop. Definitely going to say, I wish this shop only cost $20,000. This is definitely some less than optimal design. Between the outside purlin and the bottom plate they did, there's a gap about the size of a 2x. So I just got a piece of 2x2 pressure treated material that I can use to make this a flatter seal. Now ideally I'd come by with a piece of 5/4 or 1x and make a completely flat one, but this is all the same level now. So I think it's going to be good enough for the threshold. And this isn't going to be like a super heavy traffic door. I'm stuck with a little bit of a chicken and an egg problem here on getting these supports in. And this wire is going to come out, but it's giving us the light, and I got a few things plugged in. But fortunately anyway, so what I'm going to do, since I did loosen this metal, I'm going to get my first stud in. Now ideally I'd like to have this as a cripple stud with a header on it. But again, this isn't a load-bearing wall, so I'll just add a header afterwards. But the nice thing is this metal is pretty vertical. So let's check level. All right. Now that I have a stud that's supported, I can add in this bracing and nail it to that stud, which is just going to help give this metal something more to back up against. About ready to set the door in. Got things weathered sealed pretty well. I used some flashing. I did goof up on the flashing a little bit earlier. I should have done the corners and then the bottom. Whenever you flashing, the idea is make sure you work from bottom to top, so that way your seams overlap with the top over what's below it. That way when water runs, you know, it can't run into the seam. It just all goes down. Not using a seal pan, so I just lay down a ton of caulk to make sure I have a weather seal. And overall, I'm really not too worried about this door because I've got like an 8-foot overhang, and I'm pretty far from the corner, so the likelihood of any water ever coming down this wall is really slim anyways. So anyway, let's get the door shoved in here. Okay, so I got this set with screws. It's not shimmed in, it's not level yet. I like using really long screws because it just holds the door better. One in each of the hinge holes, which should have been left loose, bottom, top, and then for the lock, I like doing them below and in the middle, just so that way the lock area is really reinforced. Now, on these screws I like to get one that has a really long, smooth section. As you get a longer screw, that normally happens. Because then what the deal is, I screw this in, and it's not tightened all the way, but none of the threads are engaged in the jamb, so the jamb floats. So this holds the door securely while I can level it, and I can get all my shims in here to, you know, shim it however I need, and then just tighten them down. Cool. Now, throw a lock on real quick and make sure it closes easy. Test for a good hung door is you should be able to set it and it just stay in place. If it always tries to close or open, it's not level. Here's my favorite part. So off camera, you probably noticed that the lock and doorknob are installed now. Went with one of the smart locks that I like. Anyway, it's all done. As far as the paint goes, of course, everything was white. So what it is, I took a piece of the trim that's on the building and found some rattle can that was pretty close. And from a distance, like, it looks like it could be a match. It's really not, but I think it's close enough. And just use that on everything just so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. I really like it. This vinyl trim board, I'm gonna gravel everything in here soon. That'll probably be in the concrete video when I do the slabs inside coming up. So instead of screwing around with trying to cut some metal pieces to patch in there, I was like, I didn't want to do that. So just got a $10 vinyl board that'll never rot. So even if moisture is against it, it's fine. It's over the weather strip. So if somehow water gets behind that, not a big deal. But anyway, yeah, the door's in, really excited. Now I have lockable entrance into what is going to be the office. I just need to cut those shims on the inside flush. And then when I do the office finish out, I'll show how I'll finish this. And of course, disclaimer, like I mentioned earlier, how I frame this on the inside, not at all how it's supposed to be framed for anything load bearing. This is not a how to install a man door video. This is just the journey I went through to get a man door in my building in a non-structural wall. So anyway, hope you learned something, were inspired, or at least entertained. And until next time, make time to make something.